All right, welcome back, players, to the last match of the day, round 7 of Swiss. We've got another win and in elimination match coming up for you, featuring two players that haven't hit the stream just yet. So this will be their first stream appearance for the day, and one of them will move on tomorrow to hit the stream some more.
Yep.
It's going to be Alex Arand and Nate Innocenti.
Yeah, so Alex actually top cut this regional last year. He is trying to fight for a second spot in top 8 here in Collinsville. And Nate, I believe, made it to day 2 of Worlds this past year in 2018. So both of these players, know what they're doing. They've been in these high pressure situations before, so it's going to be a really fun match. Yeah,
for sure. And, Nate was actually here playing at... Actually, he wasn't playing, but he was definitely cheering on his friends in the Premier Challenge that happened yesterday. So, he's been here for a while, so he's had a lot of time to wind down and prepare for today. And it seems to have worked, so he's doing really well at 5-1. You win and you get cut. If you don't win, you get a nice chunk of CP. So no matter what the result is for these players, they're going to walk away feeling pretty satisfied, hopefully.
Right. Both these players have had a great day so far. Going 5-1 at a regional like this isn't easy. And so they should both be proud of what they've done so far. But I'm sure they both really want this final step to make top cut. And so they're both going to be fighting pretty hard for it.
All right. And there are players right there. They're getting set up still here. All right, and they're going to jump into team preview in just a few moments here. Alex Arand running a team we actually saw something very similar on stream before. I believe you casted that one.
Yes.
It's going to be that Zygarde-Solgaleo pairing. And, it kind of couldn't do enough damage in that match, but we'll see if Alex is able to pilot it and kind of take care of the damage issues that the first team had.
Right, so one issue that we saw was that it was in pretty decent defensive positions at various points throughout both games. We saw it on stream, but it just wasn't able to finish out those games. It kind of fell behind at a certain point, and if a team like that, if you start getting behind, teams like that are harder to come back with, and so you have to make sure you're really pushing that gas pedal the entire time.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of difficult in team building if you're building around something. I'm going to slow roll this.
Right.
Happens with the Ho-Oh teams and Zygarde teams. They just play a lot slower. So you have to keep in mind where you're putting your damage. And here's the team preview. So like we said before, Alex is going to be running the Zygarde, Solgaleo, Tapu Fini, Incineroar, Toxicroak, and Venusaur, where Nate is going to be running Lunala, Xerneas, Incineroar, Sarina, Tapu Koko, and Toxicroak. So both players have a Toxicroak. Might not see use because there's no Kyogre, but...
Right. Toxicroak is very good against Kyogre thanks to that dry skin ability, but like you said, neither of these players packing Kyogre. It's possible we might see Alex bring it just as a soft check to that Xerneas, because that poison type does decent damage to Xerneas, but it'll be interesting to see if Alex decides to bring that Toxicroak or leave it out in favor of something like Incineroar that is also a fake out user but has a little bit better typing for this matchup thanks to that Lunala on the other side of the field.
Yeah, now in the first matchup between Zygarde, Solgaleo, and on the other side was Xerneas, Groudon, the opposing team had a bunch of redirection in Volcarona and Amoonguss, which those options don't appear to be present on Nate's team. In fact, I don't think any of these Pokemon learn any redirection moves.
Yep.
So it'll definitely be a bit of a relax for Alex here to kind of be able to spread your damage more accurately and not have to worry about being redirected.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Nate doesn't have anything that can learn, Rage Powder or Follow Me, and so, Alex is going to be a little bit more free to, exact his strategy rather than try and play around Nate's.
All right, so we see the leads here. We have Incineroar and Tapu Fini out for Alex, whereas Nate's going to be leading with his 2 restricted Pokemon, the Xerneas and the Lunala. I'm honestly not too sure about the lead on Nate's side. I've never really seen them being led together in this format.
It's interesting, some of my friends keep saying that whenever you play against Zygarde, the way to beat it is to lead your restricteds because it can't deal with their damage immediately. So that's what Nate's going for here. Obviously, the Zygarde not on the field yet, but Lunala doesn't really want to be out against this Incineroar. Incineroar starting with any kind of Dark type move, especially that Snarl, which will lower its special attack. And Xerneas, these are 2 Pokemon it could, in theory, set up against, but they both have options to kind of mitigate that. Tapu Fini we've seen with Icy Wind, and Incineroar can learn Snarl and Roar, so there's some options on both sides here.
Yeah, so Sarina got to come and replace that Lunala as Fake Out getting stopped by that Sarina and allowing Geomancy to just go up. This is going to look like a bit of a scary situation if you're Alex. You just let Geomancy get up, maybe didn't consider fully that, maybe they brought Serena, maybe they're looking for that bait. But depending on what Tapu Fini does, maybe this isn't all that bad.
Right. No, it's a little bit of like a level 1 play to just go straight for the fake out into Xerneas. But the light screen kind of covers that. Even though the Xerneas got the Geomancy up, this light screen will prevent it from knocking out anything it wants to. It'll have to think twice before it just starts throwing off attacks randomly. And so, not the best turn for Alex, but not an unescapable turn as well.
Yeah, so Tapu Fini showing that light screen means that they'll be better protected. Incineroar is definitely a little more safe to just go for a U-turn if it wants. But no, it's just going to straight switch into that Solgaleo. Get the typing advantage here. Stop Dazzling Gleam from doing so much damage. As it takes it really comfortably.
That Dazzling Gleam really didn't do much to the Tapu Fini at all. That light screen coming in super handy.
And Nature's Madness from Tapu Fini gonna hit that Xerneas for half of its HP. Power Whip coming out, going to take out Tapu Fini. Probably one of the better roles Serena has on these team compositions. They can take out annoying support Pokemon like Tapu Fini, or help against the Kyogre matchup. Stuff like that. Even though Power Up isn't known for the greatest of accuracy, it is a powerful attack. So
yeah, clearly, the Power Up coming in very handy there. Serena generally seen more as a support Pokemon thanks to that Queenly Majesty and the Helping Hand, which it normally carries. But Power Whip able to one-hit KO a Pokemon like Kyogre if it's running very minimal bulk, and it's a very nice tool to have, especially on a team like Nate's that doesn't have a whole lot in terms of Kyogre counterplay other than that Toxicroak.
All right, we see Serena actually getting withdrawn. Kind of done its job. It has been threatening the, hey, don't use priority. Right. I'm right here. So let's see if Alex is able to call that switch and maybe go for a fake out this turn in front of the Serena.
Right.
As Xerneas actually just protects, so even if you went for a fake out, it's not going to really matter too much.
Oh, we're just going to see the Z move straight away, though.
Yeah, so the Searing Sunrays Smash, I believe is what it's called.
It.
See, I don't see this one that much, so the Lunalium one is definitely one I got down pat.
Yeah.
But this one's a little bit of a new territory to me. It should actually be enough for the knockout onto the Xerneas, if I know my damage calcs right, which, maybe.
I believe it is. I know that in Dallas there was an event on stream where I believe Terry Hong missed a Swagger into his own Solgaleo as it went for the Z move into a protecting Xerneas. And it did around half, so there's a really, really good chance, this Xerneas won't even be able to survive this through the protect, and there it is.
Yeah, so, roll up into a ball. We like to say cats like to play with their balls of yarn, and I think Xerneas fulfills that role as the ball of yarn. So we can say goodbye to Xerneas, and it didn't really get to do a whole lot.
No.
And losing Tapu Fini in exchange is definitely a trade you're willing to make if you're Alex. So.
Right. That was just a super smart play on Alex's turn, or on Alex's end rather. He knew that the Xerneas wouldn't be able to knock out Solgaleo in any world, and he knew that obviously if the Xerneas doesn't protect, it'll get knocked out by the Z move. But if it does protect, it gets knocked out by the Z move while also doing no damage. And so very, very smartly going for that Z move just to make sure that Xerneas gets cleared off the field.
Now Zygarde coming in to replace the U-turning Incineroar is actually really nice since Nate's Incineroar is already currently in, so you can't switch that in to get the Intimidate onto what is usually it's an okay attacker, but it is fairly weak compared to the other restricted Pokemon in the format. As Lunala does come in and threatens that damage onto Solgaleo, but Light Screen is still up, so you're gonna have to pull out the Z move if you want to try and get the knockout. Yeah,
he'd have to pull out the Z move, and he also risks whiffing it into the Incineroar in the back for Alex. Incineroar being one of the best checks to Lunala thanks to resisting that Moongeist Beam and being immune to that Psyshock. And so, switching Incineroar into the Solgaleo slot would be pretty free for Alex, and it looks like that is what he's going to do.
Yeah, so in comes Incineroar. It's just going to go ahead and drop that Intimidate here. Threaten the Lunala. Zygarde's going to be looking pretty here, sitting behind Light Screen and with that +1 from the Misty Seed.
Right.
I believe Nate actually had the Fake Out open, but didn't want to use it, just wants to get into a better position to face off the incoming Incineroar. And here comes Serena. I would not be surprised to see a fighting move from it since he aggressively or I guess more reactively switched it in to handle this situation.
Yeah, a lot of them do carry High Jump Kick, as we saw earlier on stream. And so if he does carry High Jump Kick, it'll be a pretty good option. But we're just going to see the Zygarde go straight for Recoil and increase its attack, defense, and accuracy. And so, its defense being boosted means it's going to take very minimal damage from the Serena. Side Shock from Lunala, not going to do much thanks to that Psyshock targeting the physical defense stat. We already saw the light screen plus the Misty Seed, so Zygarde might prove a little bit too hard to take down.
Yeah, especially after losing the Xerneas, which usually is the way Lunala and Xerneas deal with Zygarde.
Right.
With that out of the way and Zygarde kind of at full health, doesn't even really need the heal pulse support that the Tapu Fini usually provides. So now it can kind of just start going, using 1,000 arrows, getting the damage. Even if it's not too much, that damage racks up, and long game, like I said.
Right.
And the Zygarde player will eventually take it if you can't knock it out.
Yeah. One more coil coming straight away.
All right, more coil, more boosts, more snaky boy.
It's a smart coil too, because the Incineroar coming in there is a little bit telegraphed. He has to switch the Incineroar in to make sure he's not taking too much damage from Alex's attacks, and so getting that coil immediately gets him back to +1 attack, which is exactly where Zygarde wants to be.
Yeah, high jump kick from Sarina, as we said, but not strong enough, not having that same type of attack boost is going to kind of let that Incineroar take the hit, get a U-turn, take the berry, see ya, I'm done. Here comes Incineroar, or Solgaleo.
Close enough.
Close enough, they're both cats. Yeah. Light screen going off finally, but at this point, I don't think it really matters since Xerneas is off the field. And,
right.
In the back, you've got Lunala, but staring down Incineroar and +1 special defense Zygarde is not a fun time.
Right, and one thing to note is that we didn't see the Aura Break from this Zygarde, and so this is going to be one of those Power Construct Zygardes, where if it ends a turn at under 50% of its health, it will transform into that Zygarde complete.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it, to be honest, because that shiny form is really cool.
It is pretty gorgeous.
It's a pretty cool one. As we see the 1,000 arrows just going to come out, deal some good damage to Incineroar. Actually going to knock it out with the +1.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that was some good damage. So, no more Incineroar to switch into, which means Lunala is going to be completely susceptible to that Incineroar once it comes back in.
Right, this Zygarde is now not going to be any lower than +1 attack for the rest of this game. Nate may have been relying on that Incineroar to survive 1,000 arrows. Maybe you turn out, preserve its Intimidate for later, but we are going to be stuck with this +1 Zygarde, and Trick Room does go up. And so this Lunala will be the slowest thing on the field most likely, which is a very good move on Alex's end.
Yeah, so we started the match off with Nate leading both of his restricted Pokemon, but now we're in a scenario where, Alex has both of his restricted Pokemon in his room.
Yes.
And he's ready to just start wailing onto Nate's Pokemon. And here's where the damage part kind of kicks in, where, it wasn't doing damage at first, but now it's really applying the pressure.
Absolutely, yeah. Those two coils coming in very handy. Yeah, able to knock out that Incineroar from a pretty high amount of health. I honestly didn't expect that to KO, but, this Zygarde clearly very well trained. He knows when it needs to take knockouts. Now, we're gonna see Alex be able to close this match out, even before the forfeit from Nate. That game was pretty much.
I think Nate was pretty much just saying, "I know it's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna move on and save my game timer for the next 2 games.
Yep.
I'm just gonna bring it back." But yeah, that was excellent piloting from Alex. He even, just allowed Tapu Fini to go down early. Just was like, if it happens, I can get a free switch.
Right.
This is an okay trade for me. I don't lose a whole lot doing it. So, going into game 2, Alex, who was looking kind of, on the back foot at the beginning, kind of brought it back, and he might just do the same thing again, where he starts with his 2 more support-oriented Pokemon and move slowly into getting his attackers both on the field ready to go.
Right. He knew exactly the pace he had to play that to win that game. Like you said, he light screened at the right time. He got Zygarde in at the right time before the Misty Terrain wore out. Yeah, he knew when to coil, when to attack, when to set up Trick Room, and so his experience playing this team, I'm sure, is helping him a lot right now.
Yeah, Nate is not really slouching either. Maybe he just didn't know the damage calculation on that Searing Sunrays Smash.
Right.
Sunsteel Strike Z move into that protecting Xerneas. Thought maybe at 50% I should be able to take that.
Right.
But that turn 1 was very strong, so he definitely has the aggression. He definitely wants this win.
Right.
I can feel it, and I think he just needs to play a little bit, knowing these more damage calcs about the team.
Something interesting that I noticed about Alex's team those top 4 Pokemon, the Zygarde, Solgaleo, Tapu Fini, and Incineroar, seem like the main core of the team. I think that's what we saw the most on stream earlier when we saw the same team. And then you have Toxicroak and Venusaur, which seem to be very like matchup oriented. So you have Venusaur that can take advantage of opposing Groudon and Sun because it'll get that chlorophyll boost. Or if you're face down at Kyogre, Toxicroak is a very good bring because it is immune to all those water type attacks. So it's kind of cool how this team is built, around these 4 Pokemon, and then they kind of patch up matchups with those last 2.
That's a great point. And, a lot of these teams, you have 2 restricted Pokemon, and you can reasonably assume that your opponent will bring both of theirs.
Right.
So these matchup-based Pokemon are, some of them aren't seen as commonly in VGC across the years, so it's definitely nice to get them a chance this time.
Yep. We're going to see the same lead from Alex, that Tapu Fini and the Incineroar. We're going to see a bit of a mix-up from Nate. He leads the Xerneas again, but this time next to the Incineroar instead of the Lunala.
Yeah, maybe trying to guarantee a safer setup here.
Right.
Or maybe, threaten a possible Solgaleo switch-in with a Flare Blitz or a knockoff. Although I definitely think the Flare Blitz is a little better since we've seen that Solganium Z.
Yes. Yeah, knockoff will not be doing a whole lot of damage there.
Exactly. We'll see if Alex decides to go with the same kind of passive turn 1, set up my screens, make sure I'm safe, and then I can start setting up my attackers here.
Right.
As opposing Incineroar on Nate's side, gonna go for the fake out onto Tapu Fini, making sure it doesn't get up any of the screen stuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to prevent a light screen from that Tapu Fini. The light screen was a little bit annoying for Nate just because it kind of prevented his Xerneas from doing much damage at all. And so not going to go with this turn of Geomancy, Moonblast. Going to do a lot to Tapu Fini if not straight up knock it out. But, this Incineroar and Alex's end has yet to move. We didn't see it fake out, so it might be able to go for something like a Snarl.
And there here is the Snarl. Yep. So going to take the Xerneas down to +1. This is something we saw earlier in the same kind of similar set where Snarl was really, supporting the defensive end of the team.
Right.
And, eventually that Xerneas was so low it just couldn't do damage anymore. But without Aura Break on this Zygarde, might have to work a little harder to get to where the previous one was.
Right, and like you said earlier on stream, we saw a Xerneas be snarled down to -1 special attack after a Geomancy, so it took 3 snarls. But the Xerneas team ended up winning that game anyway. Like you said, the Aura Break Zygarde, it helped a little bit. It just mitigated damage for like a couple turns, but really failed to have any kind of offensive presence, unlike the way Alex has played this game so far.
All right, Sarina's kind of come in for that Incineroar as Dazzling Gleam hits the field. Good spread damage on both the opposing Pokemon, still leaving them above 50%. And Light Screen is going to go up, so that's going to make Xerneas' job a lot harder as a second Snarl connects with Xerneas, puts it back down to its natural special attack stat, and that's not going to be a good sign if you are Nate, since you kind of just threw away your power herb there.
Right, immediately down to neutral special attack. That Dazzling Gleam, that didn't even look like it was boosted at all thanks to that Light Screen in the first Snarl. So, again, kind of the trend we've been noticing with these Tapu Fini, Zygarde, Solgaleo teams is I don't really care if your Xerneas sets up. I have multiple ways to mitigate its damage. And now with the Light Screen and the Snarl, it's doing even less than it was before the Geomancy.
Right, and Sarina coming in is good. It's got that high jump kick on deck to target that Incineroar down. It might even pick up the knockout based on that HP number. Realizing that he can't do much with Xerneas for Lunala, which honestly isn't going to be much better here, but it is in preparation for the switching Incineroar. So this does put Nate in a little bit of a better position.
Ooh, and a big Swagger coming out. +2 special, or +2 attack immediately.
Yeah, not missing, unlike the first one here. Yeah. So maybe this Tapu Fini's got some glasses on or something. High jump kick is going to land into the Solgaleo for a little bit of damage. It might put that into range of the Lunalium Z move here.
Right.
So definitely gonna have to be a little careful about how he plays this Solgaleo right now.
Yeah, I can't say I know my menacing Moonrays Maelstrom calcs under Light Screen, and so obviously if the Light Screen wasn't up, Solgaleo would be very threatened by that Z move, but there's a chance it might be able to tank one thanks to Light Screen, but it doesn't look like Alex is going to risk that. Yeah,
so just to kind of come back into Incineroar, he was like, wait, go back. Yeah. I don't want to be here.
Right.
2 cats for 2 jobs.
There's a different cat for every need on this team.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see. Ooh, yeah. Definitely glad he pulled that out then. This is going to look like the Z move there.
Absolutely.
Although, if it targets the Fini, then we could see kind of like, kind of a trade again, but
Right.
I think, again, Alex is willing to lose the Tapu Fini in exchange for a free switch.
Right. No, we saw that last game for sure. The Tapu Fini did go down, but it did what it needed to. It set up that light screen first, which it's already done this game. It got a swagger off this game, even though it was negated immediately by the switch. But it looks like Alex made a very good play, almost even baiting the Lunala to go for that Z move into the Solgaleo, so it could be absorbed by this Incineroar.
All right, and Incineroar should eat this fairly nicely, even with the helping hand boost. It just puts it back up to what it would normally do through the light screen.
And that's just very ranged.
Yeah, and that's pretty unfortunate for Nate here, as now the Incineroar is healthy enough to take, a high jump kick. Nature's Man is going to break Shadow Shield, maybe even put it in range of Snarl from Incineroar.
Right.
It is 4 times super effective and backed by same type attack bonus.
Yeah, that's a huge turn for Alex. He successfully baited that Z move into the Incineroar, negated the Lunala's biggest damage dealing option. He still has his Solgaleo at a very healthy amount of HP in the back. Now this Incineroar is threatening both the Lunala and the Serena. And so he's got to be careful. Sorry, Nate has got to be careful to not lose either of these Pokemon by playing too carelessly.
Yeah, it's really just going to come down to, can Nate keep the board position in his favor? And right now, it's just not looking like it. He might have to pull a few switches, but Alex can just answer by U-turning and getting that position back for him as well.
Right.
So this is really going to be a hard mountain for Nate to climb, damage-wise and position-wise.
Yeah, aggressively U-turning in this format is incredible. A lot of times you can force switches like you just did on that Lunala. And if you U-turn, you're able to take advantage of these switches by making your position that much better than it was before.
All right, and Tapu Fini is just going to go for a heal pulse, so even with the berry, he doesn't feel that confident.
Right.
Maybe preparing for the high jump kick crit. Here's that U-turn from Serena actually first, so still going to play a bit of a shifting in board position, but as we always say, the slowest U-turn usually has the best reaction. So,
right. If this Incineroar did go for U-turn, it's going to have the advantage of being able to position itself after Nate has already done the same. And so, if he does go for U-turn here, he will have the opportunity to set up the board exactly how he wants it, instead of stopping for Flare Blitz.
Just Flare Blitz at -1. It's going to do a little bit of damage, tickle the Xerneas a little bit. Haha, funny. But that heal pulse did some work, so now with Misty Terrain off, Light Screen still has another turn left in it, and Fini's still being here and still being pretty healthy means it might be able to set up another one.
It might be able to set up another light screen, but if Alex does have that Zygarde in the back, it's going to be important to get this Fini off the field so we can come back and reset that Misty Terrain. Because, even though this Xerneas, has already burned its Geomancy, burned its Power Herb, this Zygarde really wants that Misty Seed boost in order to be able to take these Moonblasts even better. Yeah,
we do see that switch from Tapu Fini into Solgaleo, so just wants the terrain back and maybe set up a screen later. Fake Out going into Alex's Incineroar is going to make sure it does nothing this turn, and it's a dead turn for Alex as Moonblast targeting what used to be Tapu Fini for very little damage.
Very little, absolutely.
As Light Screen falls off this turn. So, back into a good position for Alex, Solgaleo usually not known to be good against fire or dark types, but especially against the slower Incineroar, we do see a move very commonly carried by Solgaleo to target down that ever-present problem.
Right. A lot of Solgaleo opt to run Superpower, which is super effective against that Incineroar. I think it just barely comes short of a one-hit knockout in general. Looks like this Incineroar has taken just a tiny bit of chip damage, so that might just be enough for a Superpower to knock it out. But, Alex, it's hard to know for sure, and so Alex might have to play a little bit safer. As he does, he immediately just decides to switch it out.
Yeah, here comes Fini once again, just to set the terrain back up, maybe throw up another Light Screen. The Moonblasts are now full power, so Alex might have to start snarling again to get them back down. As Protect from Xerneas actually going to stop that opportunity for Alex here, as Incineroar on Nate's side going to Flare Blitz what used to be the Solgaleo, so just kind of not calling these double switches very well on Nate's side, and Alex might have gotten into the, play habit, maybe noticed that Nate's not picking up on these double switches. What if I just double switch a bunch? And it's working out beautifully. Yeah,
so Alex might be hearing everything I'm saying because he knew he needed a little bit more damage on that Incineroar. And now he does bring the Solgaleo back in. Superpower very, very likely will be able to knock it out from this range. And so, he very smartly knew that his Solgaleo wasn't safe to attack that turn. We did see the Flare Blitz from Nate's Incineroar try to knock out that Solgaleo, but instead catching the Finny. And so, Alex, again, in a position here where Solgaleo can knock out either of these Pokemon on the field. Nate obviously has a couple Pokemon in the back. The Lunala is immune to that superpower, and so if Nate expects that superpower, he could bring that in, but it leaves him open to being exploited by Alex on this turn.
Yeah, there is not much stopping Alex from going for Sunsteel Strike into Xerneas, seeing as it just protected, and neither of the switch-ins Nate has in the back, as you've seen both the Sarina and Lunala, are very good. So this could easily just be a Sunsteel Strike into the Xerneas slot for just a lot of damage or a knockout. As Moonblast's going to be a last-ditch effort to get some damage off, get rid of the Tapu Fini, stop Lights from going up. But it just barely misses.
That is big. That is so big.
Is really, really clutch.
Yeah.
And as Heal Pulse, that's just icing on the cake here. Here you go, top it off.
Yep. Heal Pulse going to bring the Solgaleo back up to full health. We are going to see a Trick Room, so Nate is going to be able to, Alex is going to be able to have the speed advantage for these next couple turns.
Yeah, and here's where, Trick Room really shines. So, Alex could have gone offensive that turn, but Trick Room now guarantees him another, 3 or 4 more turns of speed advantage, where now Tapu Fini can just get up the Light Screen, or throw down a Swagger, all these kind of things that will help Alex speed along the process.
Yeah, it guarantees his Tapu Fini another turn to attack. It's going to be slower than both the Xerneas and Lunala. Like you said, he could throw off a Swagger, he could set up another Light Screen. It just gives him so much more flexibility on this turn. Because if he was able to take a knockout with a Sunsteel Strike into that Xerneas, it would have given Nate a free switch into something like Incineroar. But instead, he's got to burn a turn this turn to switch.
Right, and Incineroar does come back in, and Solgaleo, full metal body. It's just like a more metal Metagross, right? So definitely not going to take that Intimidate.
Yep.
And Xerneas is going to switch as well, so just trying to make sure these turns go down and he doesn't lose too much for it as
and the
Z move comes out. So nice play from Nate, just making sure the Searing Sunray Smash, I got it this time.
There we go.
We're going to motion to call that one Triple S here. Doesn't go onto one of his restricted damages here.
Right. This target's going to be important because if the Serena is catching this on the switch, it will be able to get knocked out. But instead it's the Incineroar.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a really nice switch then. Honestly, I'm not really sure about this one because I never know what the physical calcs on Incineroar are.
Yeah.
You just always have to assume Intimidate's in play, but with Solgaleo it doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
So.
That does a pretty good
that
chunk.
was good.
Yeah,
and not even in berry range.
Yeah, exactly. Being outside of berry range is important, but if Incineroar does decide to go for a Flare Blitz, it likely will be able to knock itself into berry range, and so it'll be able to heal up a little bit thanks to that berry. But the Tapu Fini does get the Light Screen up. Not going to be a big deal against Incineroar and the Serena, but the Lunala and the Xerneas in the back really don't like that Light Screen being up at all.
Yeah, Serena is in a decent position here to maybe call a switch and hit off a high jump kick onto Incineroar, or maybe just go for the KO onto Tapu Fini if you don't think it will switch.
Right.
But either way, it's going to have to take the Intimidate from the incoming Incineroar, and that's going to cut into its, not super powerful damage output. But actually, Alex is going to go for the double switch just to make sure, I'm not losing any of these Pokemon right now. I'm just going to keep playing the long game. This is only game 2, and I got 4 Pokemon. How about you? Well, I mean, he has 4 Pokemon too.
Right. It's a good switch. This is a good time to get Zygarde in because, at -1, this Serena won't be doing a whole lot with Power Whip. It's great to get Zygarde in when Incineroar is already on the field, as we were saying last game, because it can't get intimidated this coming turn. And so if it decides to go for a Coil, it'll be able to get this Coil off without...
High jump kick gives... And high jump kick takes.
Right.
Unfortunate miss, although the target was Zygarde, so I'm not really sure how much damage that would have been, but it definitely would have been better than the 50% damage to yourself.
Any damage to the opponent is much better than half to yourself. It's really unfortunate for Nate because this Serena is now in range of an attack like a Flare Blitz from Incineroar, a Sunsteel Strike from the Solgaleo. But as I was saying earlier, this Zygarde is in a much better spot now than it would be if something like Xerneas or Lunala was on the field, because now, it's free to set up a coil if it wants to. It's free to just go for some damage if it wants to. Neither of these Pokemon are going to be threatening it very much because they're both at -1. And so this would be a pretty prime time to go for a coil.
Yeah, and Xerneas going to go out, probably going to go into... Well, I was going to say Xerneas, but Lunala's going to come in instead. Not a bad pick. Flare Blitz going to go into the Lunala. Maybe more of a sack option since... More of a sack option since I think Nate wants to keep his Xerneas as healthy as possible to deal with the Zygarde. But no, not even going to go for the coil. Just going to go for the damage. Nate's team is significantly weakened without enough tools to really, come back. That
Roar.
Yeah, maybe also accounting for the roar possibility. So that was a really good turn by Alex, and Nate lost his Xerneas or Lunala. Maybe gets a free switch, but at what cost?
Right. No, that's a very smart play. I was suggesting coil because it didn't really have much to fear from either of these Pokemon, but clearly it did. This roar, would have negated those coil boosts. It does negate that Misty Seed boost, but that's less of a big deal now that this, Lunala is gone. But this Incineroar being so low means that any attack will be able to finish it off from any of these Pokemon, except in Nature's Madness, of course.
Right, and light screen's still up, so Xerneas usually has the KO potential at this point, but right now it probably doesn't even have that, to be honest. Even on the very low Incineroar, I forgot Trick Room was up, but assuming they were allowed to attack, and U-turn just barely leaves the opposing Incineroar alive. Gonna U-turn, gonna go back out into probably the Solgaleo, I would expect. But maybe seeing the knockout, might choose...
just to cover any option. It is a Solgaleo, though. Yep.
Yeah, being at full health is always nice,
It is a Flare Blitz. If this is the Solgaleo slot, that's pretty important.
It looks like it is.
Yep.
Unfortunately, -1 is not super strong, but that damage is damage,
Right.
If Nate gets a little lucky with maybe crits,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Alex says
smart.
Nice damage.
Yeah. Super smart play on Alex's end. On the double Geomancy.
Here we go. It's Geomancy time. And Xerneas says, hey man, I'm going to go down dancing.
Right.
Or my name isn't Geomancy Xerneas.
Yeah, it's kind of a last-ditch effort on Nate's end there. He had to hope that the Solgaleo didn't come in, and so the Xerneas wasn't really threatened. But, this is an easy Stun Steel Strike into Xerneas, which should be able to pick up the knockout. Yes. And then it'll just be Serena against 4 Pokemon. And it looks like Alex is going to take this match and advance to Top Cut for the 2nd straight year.
Wow. Great job to Alex. And a long-fought battle by Nate, but just didn't have the tools, couldn't deal with all of that special attack mitigation on Alex's side. So we will see Alex move on to Cut, as well as Nate picking up some CP to chase that, I guess, stipend for our North American International Championships. So.
And a World's Invite.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, very well played by Alex. We saw the shortcomings of the Zygarde Solgaleo composition a little bit earlier on stream, but now we just saw it piloted very well. We saw exactly what it can do against a lot of different team comps, and so well played to Alex. Great run by Nate as well. 5-2, not shabby at all, and so
especially at a regional of this size, there's a lot of strong players in the pool. To go 5-2 in a pool like that is definitely something to be proud of. So we're gonna have Alex Arand come back for a player interview here in just a moment, and while we do that, stay tuned, and we'll have the results right after.
And welcome back to Collinsville. We're here with our final winner today in Swiss, Alex Arand. Congratulations, you are 6-1. You've made Top Cut the second year in a row, I believe.
Actually, third.
Third, oh
yeah,
wow.
I cut in seniors.
Okay, cool.
I got
So
second,
three in a row here in Collinsville.
Yeah.
This is your home regional, isn't it? I believe you're from the Chicago area, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I thought I had a pretty bad matchup against State, but I think some of his mon changes definitely helped me.
Okay.
In the end.
Yeah. So it looked like you knew exactly what you needed to do. Like you knew like when to get which Pokemon on the field. It seemed like you knew exactly like when to get that Zygarde in.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a
that positioning for Zygarde is definitely key for my team at least.
Right.
Like his Serena definitely was an issue. Positioning Fake Out and getting the Trick Room was essentially my win condition.
Right.
And that's how, basically. And also weakening him with Snarl too. That really hindered him, and he was forced to switch.
Right. Yeah, that's something. We saw another team, the same 6 Pokemon as yours earlier on stream. I believe it was around 5, but he had a much bigger time, like a much bigger issue dealing damage.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun to see how you played this team and how you were able to position yourself in a way where. At the beginning of both games, you let the Geomancy go up, but you just kind of snarled it down, made sure you had your light screen up, made sure you had Pokemon on the field that could take these attacks. And then once you got this like Xerneas in control, then you started focusing on offense. Yeah.
And then for example, doing the Nature's Madness into Xerneas and moving a Raptor, that's guaranteed to kill.
Right.
So even if they have Geomancy up, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, that's what happened in game 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, the crit didn't matter at all.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that was always fun.
Yeah.
One of my favorite damage calcs is that steering Sunday
the +2 in the Protect.
Through the Protect. It's so funny. One of the things we noticed was that you knew, like when to play it safe, when to go for like more damage. Like one of the plays in game 2, when you switched in Solgaleo and swaggered it, and then immediately brought it back out to kind of bait that Z move.
Yeah. Essentially, I was just trying to get the Z move out, as you said. Right. That was the #1 threat. I could not let that go off on my Zygarde. Even through Protect, I would probably do like 50% with the helping hand. So I just had to position that and switch back into Incineroar.
Right. I think from that point, Nate just lost a lot of the ways he had to deal damage, especially once that Xerneas lost its Geomancy boost. And so it just felt like you were in control the entire time. So. You got any plans for tonight? You're going to practice some? You're going to learn your matchups? Or just
probably play a little bit of the IC.
Oh, yeah.
I played only like 10 games, so yeah.
You got a lot of points this weekend already.
That's
May as well get some more.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. We'll hope to see you. Well, we will see you tomorrow in Top Cut. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be right back to announce our top 8 here in Collinsville.